Breaking news with Holy Joe Rock and Roll. It's Holy Joe Rock and Roll.
Live and unscripted Monday, May the 15th, 2017. Now, I know it's about a month old, the story about the Asian doctor who was forcibly removed from a United flight because they had overbooked the flight and needed some passengers to come off. Now, they had offered people money or vouchers to get off the flight, and nobody volunteered, apparently, or at least they needed 3 more people to volunteer. Now, 2 things. Number one, they could have offered maybe more money, and every person has a price, and probably they would have gotten more volunteers. But on the other hand, the footage of the doctor being dragged off and people screaming, mostly women screaming, but yet none of them would volunteer to get off. It's just kind of insane, okay? Now, I wanted to just tell you about a good story about United and how they were actually super nice and super good to me and my son when I was traveling to the U.S. It was 2009, so it was 8 years ago, what have you. But we flew from Krakow to Frankfurt, and he had to go to the bathroom, okay? And I think he was also hungry because he was like 3 years old at the time. So we stopped at the bathroom right after we got off the flight. We stopped at the bathroom, and then we grabbed some quick bite to eat. Didn't even sit down. We just grabbed something so that he could eat, munch on it. And we walked to the gate. And we had like 40 minutes between gates, right, between flights. It's plenty of time. So we get to the gate, and my luggage is pre-checked all the way through to New York, all the way through to JFK. So we get to the gate. Oh, and by the way, since he was a minor child, like I said, he was 3 years old, he had paper tickets. I had to get him paper tickets. I had electronic tickets, but children have to have paper tickets for whatever reason. So we get to the gate at United in Frankfurt, and there was an African-American woman there. I show up at the gate, and it was like 15 minutes before departure, or something like that, 20 minutes before departure. The gate had not closed yet, and she says, "You're too late. The flight's closed." And she tried to tell me that the boarding gate was closed, and I'm looking at her, I'm like, "I got tickets for this flight." She says, "No, you don't, sir. You have electronic tickets, and you're not ticketed on this flight." And I said, whoa. I said, "What about my son? I got my son here. He's got tickets on this flight." And then she said, "Show me the tickets." So I show her the tickets, and then she backed down, okay, very politely. Now, she wasn't rude, but you get that attitude of like, F you, I'm in charge here. Maybe it's not even racism, it's just this bureaucratic attitude, okay? But then she looked at his tickets. He obviously had paper tickets, and then she made some kind of stupid-ass comment like, "It's going to cost the airline $1,000 to get your luggage." And I said, "Ma'am, my luggage is checked all the way through." So she did just whatever. And here I am thinking, why would my luggage not make it to the flight? The plane landed, within reasonable time. Everything's automated with the belts and the luggage stuff, whatever. So she gave me tickets. We got on the plane, and guess what? We sat down, and as soon as we sat down, a different stewardess came to us and said, "Sir, we'd like to move you into business class. Would that be okay?" And I said, "Hell to the yes!" We jumped up, my son and I moved to the business class, and we had business class tickets, man. We got upgraded to business class for free, baby. Now, one tip, I got to tell you, if you're traveling international and you want to even try to get upgraded, this has worked for me many times. You got to wear a suit jacket and a button-down shirt, okay? You don't have to wear a tie, but the tie is also helpful. Look, here's what the airlines do. I'll just give you the inside scoop. They always overbook coach. They always overbook economy because people don't buy business class tickets normally. Usually, most people in business class are frequent flyers that have cashed in miles to fly business class. Now, first class is a little bit different. Some people, pretentious people, or people who have a lot of money, will go for first class, because they got the money. But a lot of those people are also people who upgraded, okay, like the gold star people, the platinum star people, those people, they're flying all the time, They accumulate so many miles that, you know, for 20, 30,000 miles, they'll just bump themselves up to first class, right? As whatever, for whatever reason. But there are more people who buy first class tickets because they're first class, right? They have the money. Business class, usually, some companies will pay you to fly business class if the flight is over a certain number of hours, like say over 8-hour flight. They may pop for business class, but this is very rare, and only the biggest companies will do that. The only company, it was a financial company, a Wall Street company that had that policy back in the day. I don't know if they still have it. But anyhow, sorry for that digression. Yeah, they bumped us up to first class, business class. And the only bad thing about that is my son refused to go to sleep. And this is an overnight flight. So it was, you know, I'm saying he's playing with the video games. He's watching the movies. He's playing the video games nonstop. And I'm like, please go to sleep. Get some sleep. Go to sleep. I knew he was tired. He refused to go to sleep. And believe it or not, as soon as the airplane started to descend into JFK, you know, the pressure starts changing. It made him a little bit tired. He collapsed. And when just before we landed, he collapsed and fell asleep. So, of course, I had got to carry his ass off the plane because he was collapsed. But it was okay. I had to carry him off. But anyhow, that is a good story about United and your tips for getting bumped up to business class. So by wearing a suit, you look professional. You look not like a scumbag or just some douchebag traveler. Okay? And what happens is because they've overbooked coach, when you check in and you're dressed up nice, this is what you say. As you check in, you say, if you need someone to be moved to business class because you've overbooked coach, I'm willing to volunteer. Or you can say, if you need extra seats in coach, I'm happy to move to business class for you. Like that. That's how you word it, okay? Find your own stride, but you could say that. Now, okay, if the flight's underbooked, you're not going to get bumped unless somebody really likes you. But if you're really nice and they are overbooked in coach, you have a shot at it. I mean, nowadays it's harder to do that, but back in the day it was like I was scoring like 80%. This is, you know, pre 9/11. Like 80% of the time I would get bumped up to business class. Okay? So those are your tips for the day, your tip of the day, how to get bumped up to business class for free. And a good story about United. So I hope this gets out there. Please share. Please, if you're new to this channel, subscribe. I'm Holy Joe Rock and Roll. Remember to make it happen for the captain because
You're the captain. Breaking news with Holy Joe Rock and Roll.